call the meeting to order. The Colorado City Metropolitan District Board of Directors. As always, we begin with the study session. 5 items on there, James.
Okay, we have the final audit in front of you. Sam was going to be here, but something came up and he was unable to. He called me this afternoon. He says, I can be there, but something he needed to take care of was more important. And I agreed with him. So he said, if you have any questions or whatever, if we need to, we can go to the next meeting. But basically, you're just finalizing all the numbers from the draft that we have and the information that was within it.
Is anything in here printed differently than the draft?
No, everything is still the same.
So you had no questions from anybody?
No, not as of Friday. So that's why I told him to have it, and that's why I had to go pick it up yesterday. Because I waited till the last minute to make sure that there weren't any questions.
Okay. So now, just as a curiosity, if the numbers, of course, are probably quite likely the same as but if there's something there we don't, that I don't understand how to read that report, is it okay to ask him or get that information later?
Or ask you on or myself, and we can hopefully work it out with you. If not, we'll make sure we get in. Okay. Try to explain it.
And if you're trying to match up like the year-end financials to numbers in there, they're not always going to match up because there's different rules for government reporting and business reporting.
Okay, you want to go on next? Next, we have 3 lots that I have bids on. It's under section 1. The first one is Unit 1, Lot 1132. Like I said, what I usually do is I put what our list price is on it. I don't know where they come up with that number, but that's the number that we have within our enterprise funds that they come up with.
We have to expense it.
And I don't know where they came up with that number. As for the next number, that's what the property tax price is right at $5,600. The offer.
I'm sorry. So you're telling me that the county is assessing it?
Yeah,
$5,600.
$5,600.
When was the last time it was on the market?
I don't know. I'd have to look it up on it. The offer is at $2,400. It's 8771 square feet. Yeah, like I said, you have the map. It's right here off of Isabella Drive and Cuervera Drive.
No, it'll be Trinchera. So Trinchera on the map actually connects. The 2 cul-de-sacs aren't separate. So Trinchera actually makes a complete loop from one side of Isabella to the other.
So that's Trinchera?
Yes.
This is a connectable lot and fully buildable lot. The minimum price on that should be 3. The county is correct on the assessment. The others are not assessed properties. Like when you've got houses that go up in a certain area, sometimes you get assessment changes. So the county just may not follow up on some of the assessments.
So we're looking for a recommendation whether to sell, which we'll do that in a minute. The next one, to look at it, it is in the unit 14,991. Our price on it is $1,000. Property valued at $3,000. Property tax. He's offering $3,000. It's 8,625 square feet. It is right off of Jefferson and Cherry.
And it's up there similar to where you were looking at, right, initially.
If you look at the map here, if you go by Clever Middle School, there's that one lone house that sits there. If you go up to Jefferson, it's the first street that comes down. It's Cherry Creek, and it's right in the middle of the block. Is that the next one you have, and he's offering 2,000 on that. Okay, next one is Unit 14, 988, and it's our price is 3,000 on it. Property tax price is 3,000. He's offering 3,000, and it's 9,204 square feet, and it's on the same street. It's not a corner lot; it's next to the corner lot, right here.
These lots are slightly underpriced, but until the end of the year, I think we should go ahead and go with the 3, but however, we're gonna have to take a serious look at these lots, first of the year, because lots have been going up in this area. Are all these sewer lots here?
Yes, there's water and sewer on.
The one is 2,400, is there anything different between it and the other two?
That's why I kind of gave you the whole difference.
Just the buyer
Yeah,
offer?
yeah, offer. Very, actually,
Am I at liberty to say anything?
Yeah.
So we're the ones who offered the 2,400 on that lot 1132. And it's on a dirt road. I don't know what difference that is making for you guys, but the lots that have been going for a little higher on paved roads, with water sewer close, just the same. So I don't know if you could take that into consideration.
Any other questions, thoughts about the lots?
So I will comment on lot 132, or that 1132 lot.
So the other two on dirt roads?
Yes.
yes.
In fact, the lot 988 would be on an unimproved lot, I believe. Is it before or after that house?
Which one?
They're both-
988.
988. This one. It's
They're both on the same street, one's here and one's there.
Okay, yeah, you're good then on that. The road's good on that. So the Isabella Trinchera one, the only comment I would make to that is, in order for somebody to build on that lot, they're gonna have to extend the water.
Which one's that?
The 1132.
They won't have to extend it very far,
But they will have to.
But they
extend
will
it
have to
build on.
extend.
what, 1,500 feet?
Yeah, they're gonna have to go probably
There's a
100
house
feet.
right beside it. So,
About 100 feet extension, you figure,
Yes,
which would cost them,
you figure between $90 to $100 a foot is what the going rate is for a contract to extend an 8-inch water main,
to make it a buildable lot.
to make it available.
to make it
completely.
available on.
Yep.
And where's the sewer?
Sewer's out. They'd have to cross the road, but it's.
But it's right there in the
Yep.
street. Water's the only thing they'd have to
Yeah,
extend.
water is on Trinchera, comes to the intersection, and then turns east. There's no water on Isabella between the two Trincheras intersections.
we generally don't factor any water less than 400.
And the water and sewer are right in front of the other two.
My only deal was, your comment is it's completely buildable lot. Well,
It is.
it's not. Just
Anything else?
It's $90 to $100 a foot.
Okay, next you have resolution 14-2019 road adoption, it's Canals and Montero. This is part of the new road program. We ran into some hiccups with it. We're gonna have to probably revisit this resolution,
Not this one in particular.
well,
but
not for this one, but for the original resolution in our roads program, because there is a culvert that needs to be put in this road. We didn't run into any gravel in the road. We also going to have to build up our sewer manholes. There's a few other things that we ran across by doing this as the first one. They did pay for a 500-foot extension of the $1,000. Donnie has went over and tested it and seen what we needed to do. We did have it surveyed. Everything was all there in place for him to get it ready for them to build.
So as far as this resolution is concerned, this is a requirement from the county to give an access permit for them to file for their building permit. Ownership of the road has to be established. So the procedures that they requested from us, for us during our roads program and expanding roads, is that once that we have a road, in this case, permitted and we're working on it, we need to adopt it into our maintenance program so that they can then issue the builder a access permit. So this is what they've asked for. It needs to be put into a resolution and accepted by the board and the city as is a road that we will maintain in the future. And
sorry, I'm having trouble with the connection.
once
Try again.
once we have this, I forward this to the county. They update the maps of what roads they take care of, what roads we take care of, and so on and so forth.
So they're just asking us for a resolution?
This is basically window dressing paperwork for us to be in compliance in partnership with the county on this road.
What it is, Greg, is we own the road, there's no question of ownership. But to get the access permit, you have to approve maintenance. So all we're doing is accepting maintenance on our own roads.
Okay. So that if you look at this map, you'll see some road areas that are colored in orange and road areas that are colored in blue. Orange is Colorado City Metro, blue is county maintained. So we'd be basically adding this road to the orange list.
So you got about 2 minutes before we start the meeting. Do you want to talk anything about the road resolution before we kind of muck it, or it's something that we're going to probably have to end up raising the price on putting it in, because on this one I think we're going to go in the mark.
So the first 500 feet at $1,000, if it involves a culvert at all, the culvert to the county specs is $1,200. 40-foot piece of culvert with flared ends, and that's just parts, but that's not. If you only associate man hours of putting it in, they're going to be a few $100, probably $400 or $500 more if you want to associate a cost to it.
At this point in time, they're willing to pay for the culvert and that, but we'll have to put it in.
And through some conversations, I don't think it's anything that we can force anybody to do. Can't mandate them to pay for it, but if it's one of those deals where we can at least have a conversation with the builder / homeowner about those costs, being that you're getting a road for a tenth of the cost.
Aren't we obligated to provide a road?
We are obligated to provide the road.
So is it a timing issue for if somebody wants to put a building in, if they're willing to pay, we'll get the road sooner? Is that what?
Correct. And I believe we set 8 months to a year would be our timeline. So if somebody wants it sooner than the 8 months to a year, then they pay the $1,000 expedited, and we
Drop what we're doing and go do it basically.
And if they don't pay the expedited, then they don't have to do anything. We have to put it in at some point.
Yes.
but they can't get their access to the property.
The catch-22 is in order for us to, we don't need a permit in hand to put a road in, but on the expedited side, permit coincide to each other.
So we're kind of trying to encourage them to help us pay for the road.
To some extent, yes. Not so much the road, but the added costs involved with the road. Because in this case, we also have sewer line on the road and all that. Now, granted, those costs are going to be associated with the sewer plant to bring, risers in and bring the manholes to grade and everything else.
So how much encouragement do we need to make it make sense?
Well, I think at the end of the day, you can encourage all you want. But if you look at the first 500 feet of any road being more in the realm of $2,500, and then it's $1,000 for every 500 feet after that, we're looking at covering the costs within that department, roads department. So if I get next year, I get 5 roads out there, and every 5 of them hooks to a county road, which is 9 times out of 10 is going to be the case. You've collected $5,000, say it's being that they're all 500-foot sections, and I'm $6,000 in just culverts.
So we don't have the culverts in our resolution for building roads right now.
I don't necessarily think that you can put the culverts in the resolution. I think the only adjustment that you as a board can make in this aspect is the value or the cost of that initial 500 feet.
The overall
Of the permit, the expedited permit.
of the expedited rate?
If somebody wanted to come in and say, I'm willing to wait a year, put my road in, we're eating that culvert. And there's there's nothing, I don't think there's anything we can do.
So to help offset the cost of the culvert, what you're saying is we may need to look into adjusting.
The initial 500 feet. Once we've got that first 500 feet, you're connected to whatever main thoroughfare that you're going to connect to. So in the first 500 feet,
First 500 feet is the most expensive.
is the 2,500, just rough number at this point. And then every 500 feet after that is $1,000. That will cover the survey involved with additional, say somebody wants to put a 1,000-foot road, it's going to be $3,500, $1,200 on our end bookkeeping side, $1,200 is going to pay for the culvert, and roughly $600 is going to pay for the survey, and then any other costs that we have involved with putting that road together. Fuel, essentially at this point.
And then the board made a decision to put 25% of that $1,000 cost for the first 500 expedited feet toward the principal on the fan crest.
No, on the grader.
Road grader.
On the road grader, I'm sorry, on the road grader. So in this case, we're going to be upside down.
You don't have any 25% to divvy up in this scenario that we're in currently.
So,
Well, actually, I think we set aside the first 2,000 doesn't count in that resolution every year. You wanted 2,000 before we even started the program.
Right.
So you are kind of at a break even on it now.
Not after I pay for the culverts involved with it. I'll be 400 in the hole.
so what you're asking is that we look at adjusting
Looking at adjusting that first 500 feet.
that first 500 feet.
Yes,
It's currently at 1,000, right?
it is at 1,000.
Would 1,500 cover that?
No. Because your 1,200 is just the culvert itself. And then if you have your survey, which is usually 300.
Between 400 and 600, depending on what I request them to do.
If it's expedited, I don't see the reason why a builder wouldn't want to pay $2,000 or $2,500 to get an expedited road.
Yeah, if he's building a
Now, the
$300,000
other guys,
house.
they have the right to wait, but for expedited, I think we can bring that up. I would be more comfortable with the 2 than I would the 25, but that's 5 of us here that have to come up with that number.
Well, and that's all I'm asking is, do we wanna look at that to readjust our fees?
Well, if it's only for expedited and everybody's understanding this, I don't see a problem.
Yeah, I don't.
The trend that I'm seeing at this point through the phone calls and all this is you got a lot of contractors and you've got a lot of builders and homeowners that are ecstatic about this. Because if they find a spot, a lot, it's changing people's mind on what lots to go
It
in.
does.
And what I see is a year into it, this time next year, if we don't make an adjustment, we're gonna be in the hole on it. But at the same token, you're looking at people, and I spoke to 2 contractors, asking them what their price was to install 500 foot of road. They're at about $1,000, to county specs, they're about $1,000 per 10 feet.
So we're still gonna be considerably cheaper. than
We
the
are
expedited.
a fraction of the cost. So that's what's driving people. They're gonna pay for the expedited piece just to get the price.
So, on the expedited, if we were to adjust it to 2,500,
I believe we can cover our costs.
we can cover our costs and not going.
And have some money to put to the principal of the road grader, as well as pay some of the fuel bills.
Mr. Chairman, I'd ask that we bring this up in the regular meeting.
We'll have to add that to the agenda when we get to the regular agenda. Just so we aren't missing anything out. So I mean, if, we thought we had it covered, we're
We did.
way short, so is
And-
that,
As far as the additional pieces that I've got to deal with in building a road, is just your maintaining your utilities within that road if it has them. So in this case, this particular road, I got to deal with the sewer stuff. Now that's going to come out of the sewer budget to bring those up. I do that through the city when the county does an overlay. I've got to put risers in. Now those risers do have a cost, and maybe if come to a point where maybe we have some excess money in that roadside, maybe they compensate the sewer department in some aspect. If we get inundated with some road stuff. Because at this point, it's pretty hard to sit down in that budget meeting and budget these numbers out because we have no data to make the projection going forward.
what I was reacting to was if it's still a bargain, $2,500, then we need to make sure it doesn't have to be as big a bargain, and we'll make sure we have.
I think if you, from the conversations I've had, when I mentioned, hey, what would you feel about if we went to 2,500? With total absolution, they're like, it's a no-brainer. And I think, say 3 years from now, if we're looking back at this, there's still meat on the table of keeping it a bargain if you had to look at an increase in later time.
So at some point, there'd be a break even there to, rather than paying the expedite, we just wait a year. Where is that?
At this point, most times, at least my feeling is with conversations, is most contractors, builders that come here, they're not looking to build a year from now. And at the bargain price of $2,500, or in this case, $1,000, they'll pay it out of their pocket to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, they're building a $350,000 home.
On the other side of it too, is there's a lot of them that are retiring and moving here that they've already sold their house, or they're in the process of selling their house, and their house is selling within a week to a month, no problem, in Denver, Springs, whatever. So
I think the request of a road without the expedited portion are going to be less than 3% of the roads we build in the next 5 years.
I think you've got a general direction on the board. I don't want to belabor it anymore, just as a.
Thank you.
Nothing else in the
study session, so I adjourn that, immediately call to order the regular meeting. Join me in the pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any of you who would like to join me in a moment of silent reflection, thank you so much. Thank you. If the minutes show that the entire board is present, first item of business is approval of the agenda. Mr. Chairman, I've got a couple of things to add to the old business and new business. Under old business, I've got your possibility of road resolution at 2500. To touch on the Colorado City Architectural Control Committee and audit management letters. Under new business, we don't seem to have the lawyer's attestation in our minutes, and we need to talk about that quickly. Any other items need to be added? Bob, you want to put that into a motion as far as amending the agenda? Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to amend the agenda to include old business stated for roads, CCACC, and audit, along with new business covering attestation. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that the agenda be amended to include 3 additional items in old business, road resolution, architectural control issues, and audit management letters, and new business lawyer. I had to pick a word I can't say. That all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Approval of minutes. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes due to the statement we include in each one stating they're not correct at times, and to refer to recordings and such. I have a motion to approve the minutes of the study work session and regular meeting of August 27th. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Bills payable. Question on those. After you've had a chance to look over those, I need a motion to approve paying the bills. Mr. Chairman, I've looked these over somewhat. I've asked a couple of questions of the finance department. At this time, I would ask that we approve these. I would like to say that we need to talk about it a little more with the finance department and the manager, but I would make a motion to approve the financial statements as provided. Move we accept the financial report. Is there a second? I'll second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Jim, operational report.
Operational reports, will be under your section 6. Golf course activities report, rounds played 2018 to 2019. There's about 300 or 240 rounds difference, which is a 12% increase. Revenues were up by 12,000, which is a 21% for August. To date, we are up over 20 in revenue from last year, even with the slow start at the beginning of the year. We have kept the expenses down in the pro shop through hard work, volunteers, good management, seasonal employees, and the help from friends of Holly Dot. I definitely say Holly Dot is on the upswing. As on the maintenance side, we have some upcoming expenses. We have our fall, early winter costs, which is fertilizer, which is about $3,100. Snow mold application, another $1,300. Verification is about $2,700. Repair and maintenance supplies, 90 green vet knives, 311 blade reels, and bearing kits, which they do this during the winter time when all the machines are down in the shop. Irrigation, back nine had a total of 74 man hours for maintenance this year since March 28th. Front nine had 385 hours. It goes to show you that the system is old. We're getting front nine control of irrigation heads has been reduced. Heads now run 4 minutes past their assigned run times, which is usually 50 gallons per minute. Front nine man hours outnumber back nine by over 5 to 1. Kitchen pond is managed multiple times per day to make sure adequate amount of water is in irrigation pond, preventing low and excessive water levels. Precipitation since July 23rd through September 9th, 1.6% measurable rainfall. August 10th through 31st, we have had none. Lack of precipitation and increased heat really exposes the lack of efficiency and uniformity of our irrigation system, especially on the front nine. Equipment wise, he has a John Deere 3245C purchased in 2001, currently has 6,510 hours on it, used as a trim rough mower to mow around steep tee boxes, around greens, tees, bunkers, trees, and ponds. In 2009, they had the frame cracked and fab work, radiator cracked, multiple decks have been welded on and replaced, multiple hydro hoses replaced, soft and hard lines, rear steering work, rollers, bearing seals, tire work. Currently has horizontal and vertical cracks in the frame, cracks in existing decks, 1,000 spent this year, not including parts stocked on shelf. 25 man hours has been spent on repair versus 4 hours spent on Toro Parkmaster and Rhino. I did put in to the county for about $120,000 of equipment for the golf course, which was golf carts. One was replacing this mower and also replacing a greens mower. So we'll see what they put in the budget for next year for us on that. I did talk to all 3 commissioners. They were wanting to have us put in for it because they're tired of giving it to Global West. So on that aspect of it. Okay, Parks and Rec operational report. Soccer registration is over. We will now begin forming teams. It was difficult to find enough coaches again. We do have enough volunteers, but it delayed being able to form the teams. Field preparation will also begin this week as we begin to set up the goals and painting the outfield grass. The campground was very busy over the Labor Day weekend. Reservations have slowed down, but we still have quite a few show up this past weekend. Rec center trees have been removed that were too close to it and damaging the building. We hope to have the door and sidewalk installed this month. Ball fields, we have been working through some irrigation issues at the ball fields, but have been able to fix valving and broken water lines that caused these issues. On that, I'd like to say, Josh, it's great looking down there. I see only one Browns. Okay, as for the water plant, Beckwith treatment plant produced 17,767,689 gallons of water. Cold Springs treatment produced 2,336,759 gallons of water. Cold Springs is online, and water is being used in distribution system. The city billed for $10,742,000 13, the difference of 9,062,435. That was unaccounted. Backwash from the backward treatment plant sent to the wastewater plant was 2,978,052 gallons, or 96,066 gallons average per day. The wastewater plant is still operating on 2 basins. The wastewater plant treated an average of 30,000 gallons per month, or 370,000 gallons per month. What Gary put in with his is, I know we've mentioned it, and I've mentioned it to the board, that the backup wash water would take a strain off of our sewer plant, because right now we're putting close to 100,000 gallons a month into the sewer system, a day into the sewer system, which puts us at that 85% full capacity down there. Whereas if we can look at, with this refinancing, of going ahead and getting the engineering and stuff of, Casey, we figured it was $18,600 to take that backwash water and put it either into the pond or back into Beckwith to reuse it. Instead of putting it into our sewer system and having to treat it, double treat it.
In other words, we're flushing 3 million gallons a month.
Yes.
And I know we've been talking about this for a long time. Is it just because we're waiting for the survey that we haven't gotten all this done?
No.
No.
Wait for the money.
The $18,000, correct?
I mean, if you want to put it down to the one item,
It's the 18 grand.
So that's why it's being presented here too, to show that there are other ways and issues that refinancing would give us that jump and moving forward to cut down our costs all over, whether it be sewer, water, wherever, to help.
And the capacity on the sewer plant is going to be helped how much?
30%.
30%.
It's gonna knock it 30%.
Correct.
By diverting that water.
Yeah. So we're taking 100,000 a day, and our daily average plant is 370,000 gallons a day. So you can roughly knock that down to 270, 280, and that would bring us back below that 85, that 80%.
We're at 85% now, Greg, and it's, the state's on us because of our max number. We have to start looking at a new sewer plant or get the number down.
And I don't, we're not approaching it in the manner of this is a solution to a new, not having to go after a new sewer plant now.
Oh, but it helps.
But it does help us gain some time to get through the engineering pieces going forward to get to that point.
So this will be part of that. Hopefully we can put into that refinancing and stuff, which I will bring to you the next meeting when I have all the figures from banks and RFPs and stuff. So, Don, do you have anything on your operation?
So, Public Works, I'm sure everybody who's associated with Facebook knows kind of where we're at and what we're doing, but Gary mentioned we're still down on 2 basins there at the sewer plant and the 3. We're in the process through a joint cooperation with the city of Walsenburg, using some of their equipment to help us out in cleaning of that 3rd basin. The SBR valve is here. I'm working through their IT department, getting it hooked up, scheduled with them in the morning. We can verify, test that valve, get it operational. Once that basin is clean, then we can test the aeration in it, make sure we don't have any issues with that. We'll flood, what do we figure, Gary's about 7,000-8,000 gallons in it of clean water. So test those aeration units in there, make sure they're up. It's one of those items that is submerged 25 feet underwater, and it's not exactly clean water normally. So while we have it drained out and we can be doing some maintenance, we're going to look at that. While we have it down, verify everything works good. My goal is to have that basin back up and running the middle of next week, if at all possible. And then on the water side, we are, we're looking at, as of this morning, we're sweeping the ditch, the greenhorn, so everybody above us that has any sort of water rights has been shut off, so we're taking everything that is available into Beckwith. That's recommendations from us to the water commissioner to allow us to do that. That was resolved yesterday evening and put into play this morning. We're at 12.4 on the lake, which isn't necessarily out of balance of where we normally are this time of year. I think it's pretty close to what would be considered average, where we should be. The water, I should say, the repairs for the system I have a couple backlog items that are not super high priority. If I can get away from stuff like last night, my hope is to have that backlog wiped before the weather turns on us. So we're making pretty good headway on all of it, all in all.
I'd like to thank them. Donnie's Crew last night, they were out until 11 o'clock. They were working on the basin yesterday, had to shut down about 1:30. We had about a 60-foot geyser that was shooting on.
I can see it from the sewer plant when I got the phone call.
Little birdies, so they cut out about a, 8-inch?
About a 8-foot section of 8-inch ductile iron pipe, and they did some taps that were within that section. And we had hoped to have it as my Facebook. I tried to use Facebook to let everybody know ahead of time. Obviously, the times that I put on there estimates, we were well past my initial estimate after we were able to uncover and see the true severity of the issue. So we apologize for the amount of people we had out of water yesterday evening, but it was needed to make the repairs the proper way.
Also with that, Gary went around to every house last night, and I helped him introduce myself and tell them, ask them whether they were out of water. If you want it tested, we get it tested for you, whatever we need to do. And most of them, they were very cooperative. Didn't, hey, we understand breaks happen, and it's an old infrastructure, so it gave me the opportunity to get out with him, going door to door and talk to people.
You just didn't want to put the boots on.
I did today, though.
That'll help you in getting that bond.
Yes, sir. I would like to discuss this flush water again real quick.
All right.
We've been concerned about source for a long time. This 3 million gallons of source actually exceeds our cold spring source. So this 18,000, I would like to just set it or have the manager look at the current budget that might have the money aside from what he's already doing, because I don't want to put all our eggs in one basket. I want an option there, because the refinance is not guaranteed at this point, and source is extremely important to this community. So I would like to ask that we instruct the manager to bring us a plan outside of his for the 18,000 that might or might not be doable in the current budget.
So the only comment I would have to that is trying to consider this reclamated water as source water is going to be limited. So the state does not allow us to put it back into Beckwith to be reprocessed again. So the only source water that reclamated, reclaimed water would be able to be used for would be for irrigation, for non-potable water, for road and bridges construction, and the ball fields irrigation, or the golf course irrigation.
And you're already using.
So, but that will offset, don't get me wrong, that will offset source water that we're currently pulling that can be processed and put a dent in it that way. But I want to make it clear that we can't just pump it back to Beckwith and then put it back through the plant.
But this,
We can put a portion back into the plant.
What's the percentage? 20, it's less than
It's not
20.
very much.
It's less than 20%.
35%.
No,
It's not very much.
yeah.
Well, even 20% of 3 million gallons is a good number to put back.
And this will virtually feed the golf course, won't it?
No,
No, it'd be, if we're doing 100,000 a day, it would,
what they need.
yeah, it would offset them 15% max daily.
Well, 15% still
Daily.
huge.
Yes.
Because on an average day, you will, if it was hot,
Like tonight will be about 310.
so it's about a third.
That's still a drastic number.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's.
So you
were just clarifying.
I was just clarifying.
Yeah.
Mr. Cook is, willing to work with us too on that payment schedule.
Yes. Not this Mr. Cook, but the engineer.
No, I think that's a good, your brother Josh. That's a good Josh.
So,
He will budget bill it for us.
I have a question as well. Now, is that gonna change if we update, the skids?
No, so
We still have the same kind of price?
it's actually gonna be, if we were to go, and I'm assuming you're talking about the updates that we've included within the refinance stuff.
Yes.
So it's actually gonna be probably a more efficient process at that point. The upgrades that we're talking about within the plant will have no effect on, we're gonna still backwash the same amount of water. The upgrades we're talking about are kind of life safety and the process being automated. As opposed to our guys standing over a barrel and mixing a chemical that if you inhale or spill or whatever is gonna hurt your health.
Any other questions, comments about any of the operations? All right.
On the golf course, 12% increase on rounds of golf, awesome. I'm assuming that's a lot to do with weather. We got a lot better golf courses.
Great shape.
Well, actually, weather actually kind of hurt. If
Yeah,
you
it hurt
look
a
at
little bit
April and May on the non-play days.
And then we've
Yeah,
got
more
a 21% increase in revenue.
More
The
tournaments, more tournaments.
The extra
That's when
revenue,
they're
the
coming
more
out.
tournaments
Yeah, they're coming out, they like it.
come from the price adjustment. Did your
A
price
little bit.
adjustments hurt anything?
No.
So by putting in the increases, didn't hurt a
Kept it
thing,
kept it reasonable.
helped our bottom line.
And I think that, these guys have done a pretty decent job of cutting some costs involved with operation as well.
Some operational costs.
To-
Hard, working hard.
Yep.
Just kind of keep our
Plus, you have a
season
lot of
going.
volunteers
Friends
around
of
that
Hollywood.
golf course that really,
Friends
Well,
of
the
Holly
volunteers
got-
have been there, the volunteers are doing great, don't get me wrong, but they've been there, but, has it increased as the volunteer
Friends
part?
of Holly got us paid for some costs for me for doing my golf course parts.
Which
They
is
gave me
helped out on the
$500
bottom
instead of
line here.
spending $1,400 is what they gave me $500, we spent $0.
Cool,
So yeah, it's been real
awesome,
good on that.
awesome.
So, by us helping them out with the tournament at the beginning of the year, it's enabled them to do a lot more projects and be part of projects, whereas in the past, we've had that on ourselves. So that $4,000 or $5,000 that we gave in green fees has brought us back.
Put it back.
Well, then the next question that I got is, I love these numbers, but if we continue to do good like this, we're gonna wanna put this money back into the golf course.
Right.
I myself think we should.
Right, we need golf carts, we need.
If we continue to do good like this though, guys, the golf course is part of government.
Yeah.
Okay, Tabor kicks in, and it's gonna bite us in the, you know what? And I love these numbers, this is awesome, but if we wanna put that money back in the golf course, then we really all need to look as a team about putting that back into an enterprise.
That's the thing is we gotta have a track record first, that it is going to be self-sustaining before you can really, or be within that 10%. You know what I'm saying? Because once you put more than 10% from the government into an enterprise, then you lose that enterprise.
I understand.
So you've gotta have a track record that they can handle, they can stay on their own at this point in time, then we can look at that. So, like I said, we're on that scale right now, this year. If we can do it again in the next year, yes, I would agree with you, let's look at putting it in.
In the meantime, there's no incentive for them to perform because they've done it for, like this for so many years.
Yeah, but, and that's the thing is there is an incentive with the match.
Well, if we go over though, just bear with me here. Tabor makes us give that money back. We're giving money back right now. We're getting ready to do that next year. And I love to see what he's doing. I love to see what Josh is doing. Okay? But if we become too successful, Tabor bites us.
That's why I asked for fees, not just grants, fees too.
Mm-hmm.
But we're just grants at this point in time.
So if we do roofs, then it wouldn't affect us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we can see how the how the turnout is in November, and we could also look at it in May as putting it as a district question, since if we're gonna have election of directors anyway. You know, it all depends upon that.
Question, yeah.
Whether we have people that will be running against president directors. So we have to have an election. If we have an election, then we can also look at adding that, okay, we got if we get grants passed, can we look at fees now or whatever within a district? So that's one of those deals that if we want to go by step, we can do it. And also we looked at talking about at that time road tax, if you want to do a sales tax for your roads project or whatever. So
Well, what I'm mainly concerned about right now is us
a Tabor.
getting ourselves into a pickle like we did this year.
Yeah,
Next
I
year.
agree.
Because it looks like these guys are doing fantastic work.
They are. They're up and over what everybody thinks.
So I think the incentive, it bugs me. The incentive of what the past people did has no bearing on what current people do.
And I don't know if anybody else is. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, you know exactly what last meeting, he stood up there and told us that we did too good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can't jump the gun too far and sink
But the
too
reason
soon.
for the increases was to offset the expense increases we were gonna have in workman's comp, property and liability,
Minimum
benefits, minimum
Well,
wage.
gang, I'm sorry, but I don't run my business this way, okay? As business starts to increase, I project that it's going to increase. And I start planning for the future with a positive attitude. And I think you guys are doing fantastic. So let's just plan for everything to go great. I don't have a problem with this putting a oh crap plan in the back closet, okay?
Cautiously optimistic.
But
We're looking at that.
Yes.
because
We're
we
all on
can
the
take this
same board.
money that you guys are making and we can put it back into the stuff. Josh can improve the campgrounds, he can improve the golf course, we can get some of this equipment.
But as long as your added revenues offset the taxpayers' funds that you will no longer receive, I'll put it that way. So as soon as you go to an enterprise, you no longer get those tax funds that go into the revenue of that department when you become an enterprise.
And you can't have more than 10%.
You can't have more than 10%.
Offset from the general.
Well, and we can still make revenue, we have costs that offset it, and we can still be in violation of our budget. We could be over our budget.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of rules and things that kick in, even though we're making money, and, we're making money, but we could get.
Well, I'd rather give part of the pickle back than not have a pickle.
Definitely.
See, nice speak.
Don't you have that?
That's a dill way of looking at it.
But I've been on the board, or I've been around the town, I've been down at the golf course. The professionalism and what they do around there, and all the volunteers and all the workers, it boils down to weather. And then we had to spend a lot of time last year pumping wells because we had a dry season. That just seeps right out of that comes right off the top of their gravy. So you don't know what's going to happen. And people are finicky. But one thing I do know, people drive to come down and play this golf course because of the people at the golf course. I know that.
You put gravy on your pickle?
Yes, I do.
The manager mentioned earlier about $120,000 application with the county, which would benefit the golf course. courts, and while that's not a done deal, what impact, if that is passed by the county, would that have on this entire picture?
That would be CTF funds, which CTF funds are conservation trust.
Not
And
the
they're
Tabor.
taking that Tabor.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, now A1 funds would be.
We already have 17,000 that
But if you
comes to us
go to
every
an
year,
enterprise,
okay, supposedly.
Any,
You can't go
any,
to
any
town.
other comments on the operation report? We don't want to. All right.
So there are some repercussions.
Statement of conduct and demeanor. In order for the business of the board to be conducted in the most effective and expeditious manner, it is necessary that all persons present maintain a demeanor of civility toward the board, staff, and each other. Conduct that appears threatening or aggressive will not be tolerated. Shouting, speaking out of order, or the use of offensive gestures similarly are not acceptable. Such behavior shall constitute forfeiture of your right to remain in attendance and may, as a point of order, be brought to the board's attention by counsel or any board member, including the chairperson. Result in your being asked to leave the meeting by the chairperson or upon your refusal, being escorted out of the